At peril, my response appears to be political because I literally do not know.
Gavin Newsom sat down on Pod Save America for one of the most incredibly contradictory podcasts I have ever seen.
I'm the governor of California. I want to know the answer. I've got that question. I can't tell you about how many people, what happened. My own team saying what happened. And I want to get the answers. And I'll be candid with you, I wasn't getting straight answers.
Yeah. That's important what he just said. I was getting different answers from different leaders. I was not getting straight answers. I want to know what's happening. He's using the tense as though he still does not know.
We had my team start talking to local leaders saying what's going on. Our state,
and you weren't getting straight answers from the
I was
local
getting
leaders.
different answers. And so for me, that's not a story. When you start getting different answers, then I'm not getting the actual story. And they're assessing it. And I get that as well. You have to a little bit of grace, back to the point.
He claims to be a victim himself of misinformation, and he's getting different answers from others. So how could he possibly be expected to provide answers when, unfortunately, he's the victim of not being able to get straight answers from his darn pesky leaders beneath him? It's always somebody else, darn. Can we get some answers from you? He is asked point blank, do you think Mayor Bass should have canceled her trip to Africa? Gavin Newsom's response to this is priceless.
Do you think that Mayor Bass should have canceled her trip to Ghana when she knew that they were going to be an extreme weather event?
I literally can't judge it. I don't know when she left. I can't assess that.
You don't know if the mayor was in town when the fires started? Is it really that difficult to verify this information? Can you ask her? She's the mayor.
It's not on it, and I mean this like, and there's not at peril, my response appears to be political because I literally do not know.
Let that sink into your mind. It seems like an important piece of information, which he just skims over and then rapidly changes the subject within 15 seconds.
I know when she came back. Yeah. I know that when I was on the scene a few hours after the original 10 acres was announced, that her team was on the phone.
It's this weird smile that he's using as he speaks. Why are you smiling right now? It's like, and we felt confident, and we were on the phone, and kumbaya, and 10 minutes after. There's some strange body language going on here.
But plenty of water down here. I mean, all the reservoirs, more than full, though this one reservoir, this local reservoir, that's part of the inquiry.
Plenty of water, more than full, except for this one, which...
that was something that wasn't communicated originally.
Right.
That was one of the reasons, to answer the question of your friend and others as well, about getting straight answers, that triggered me saying, enough, let's get these facts and let's get them out today.
That's a big piece of information not to be communicated. So Gavin Newsom just verified that they dropped the ball on that reservoir. It was not communicated. Case closed. He just said the words himself. Yes, we do not have the facts yet. We're still waiting for them, as we can see from Gavin Newsom. But how those facts are portrayed by both sides paints a very different picture. We, the consumers, can make sure we're getting the accurate story from the media. And to do that, I'm going to use this tool that I've been using, this lovely tool, Ground News, the sponsor of today's video. So thank you to Ground News. This app and website lets you think more critically about the information you consume by gathering the world's news in one place and providing context on each source. Their goal is to help you compare how different outlets report the same stories so you can step back and see the broader narrative. Let's look at how the Kenneth Fire is being reported. On the left, we've got this headline. Ventura County officials identify person of interest in Kenneth Fire. Pretty neutral, right? Sticks to the facts, who the officials are focusing on without much embellishment. In contrast, on the right, we see that it's being reported, homeless man with blowtorch arrested for arson in connection with Kenneth Fire in LA. This headline brings in socioeconomic context, pointing out that the suspect is homeless. It adds a layer of potential judgment or bias, intentionally or not, about homelessness and its perceived connection to crime. What gets highlighted and what gets left out can shape how we interpret the event. That's why Ground News is such a powerful tool. It shows you these biases up front. Their bias distribution feature breaks down how coverage of the story leans left, right, or center, so that you can see how different outlets are framing the same story. It doesn't tell you what to think, but it makes sure that you are asking the right questions. I have found that being well-informed requires one to look at both sides of a story, and ground news is a great tool for accomplishing this. To try and take control of your news, you can go to ground.news/Smith or scan my QR code down there. The link gets you 40% off their top-tier Vantage plan. What we know, the first response, the first line of defense against questions is going to be, well, this was inevitable. There's nothing that we possibly could have done.
If I had 1,000 engines to throw at this fire, I honestly don't think 1,000 engines at that very moment could have tapped this fire down.
Why then logically do we see videos of people who, there's only 2 houses left on the block because one person came in to fight that fire?
Local married couple, both in their 80s, stayed put during the Palisades fire, and they survived to tell their story. They used a garden hose to put out the flames that were approaching their home.
What does that logically indicate? That the efforts of an individual was enough to actually make a difference and to save those structures. No company is going to provide insurance if the mayor, if the fire department is claiming, look, we could have had 1,000 additional fire trucks and it wouldn't have made a difference. Well, there goes insurance.
There were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation that we were dealing with over the last couple of days.
The fire chief is directly calling her out, and just out of those 3, the fire chief seems to be the one who is the most straight shooter out of those 3. She seems to be the one who will acknowledge there weren't enough resources. Now people are speculating that she's just kind of on this mode of, look, if I go down, I'm taking the mayor with me.
Because a lot of people are talking about the warning that you sent last month that the budget cuts have, quote, severely limited the department's capacity to prepare for, train for, and respond to large-scale emergencies, including wildfires. You sent that warning.
They use this as a line of defense against questioning. Well, it's not that there was a lack of water, it was a lack of water pressure due to the fact that our infrastructure is not designed to be able to fight multiple houses at the same time.
About 2 or 3 water tenders, and there were some engines. We got dry hydrants.
3 huge water tanks help boost pressure in the hydrants around here, but
we were not able to fill the tanks fast enough
because demand was overwhelming, and the Palisades is at the end of the city water system with narrower pipes with reduced flow.
Okay, but you're LA, you've had wildfire before. This is perhaps the biggest threat facing this area. This was known. We've all seen the video of Joe Rogan predicting this. People knew this was a potential.
All due respect, in December you had warned that the budget cuts would severely limit your ability to respond to large-scale emergencies. Is that true or not?
Yes, so I would say yes, we were limited to a certain factor, yes.
Is that factor fiction?
See this everywhere, that Democratic Mayor Karen Bass is to blame, with Musk attacking bad governance at the state and local level that resulted in a shortage of water. I gotta say, this is really important because I've seen this everywhere. It's false.
And as for the mayor, that upon her return to in the midst of this disaster, flying back from Africa, she's confronted by a reporter. Just, that was a massive dropping of the ball. That was a massive mistake, and just her complete silence.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?